Hello, beautiful girls and handsome boys. This is your English teacher, Zina Afrin. Let's read the next one, the last lesson, part 2, from your English book, Standard 9th. I had not learned my participles, and so I could not say a single word. I heard Mr. Hamel say to me, I don't scold you, little Franz. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, Bah, I have plenty of time. I will learn it tomorrow. And now you see where we have come out. Ah, that's the great troubles with Alsace. She put off learning tomorrow. Now those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it you pretend to be Frenchmen and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language? But you are not the worst. Poor little Franz. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills, so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of making you learn your lessons? Then, from one thing to another, Mr. Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world. We must guard it among us and never forget it, because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Then he opened a grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. I think, too, that I had never listened so carefully, and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away, and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, Mr. Hamel had new copies for us, on which were written in a beautiful round hand, France Alsace, France Alsace. They looked like little flags fluttering everywhere in the schoolroom, hung from the rod at the top of our desks. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the papers. On the roof, the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German? Even the pigeons. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw Mr. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in the little schoolroom. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. Just like that, only the desks and benches had been worn smooth and the walnut trees in the garden were taller. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all. Poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. After the writing, we had a lesson in history. And then the babies chanted their ba bee bee bo ah. How well I remember it, that last lesson. All at once the church clock struck 12. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussian, returning from drill, sounded under our windows. Mr. Hamel stood up, very pale, in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. My friends, said he, I, but something was choking him. He could not go on. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, Vive la France! Long live France! Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word, he made a gesture to us with his hand. School is dismissed. You may go. Thank you.